Everything you think you know about history, I want you to just set it aside for a few minutes. Because today, we're diving into a version of our past that's been forbidden, buried. A theory that our entire civilization is just the latest model off the assembly line in a long, long series of worlds that have risen and then catastrophically fallen. We're talking about a massive cosmic reset that, according to the sources we're looking at, has been secretly shaping our world for millennia.
So let's start with this one. Simple idea that could change everything. What if history isn't this straight line of progress, from cavemen to smartphones? What if it's a loop, a circle that just keeps repeating? And what if we're just living out one tiny arc of a pattern that's played out over and over and over again? Okay, so let's get right into the heart of this thing. We're not talking about some random doomsday prediction here. This is about a huge, predictable cycle, like a giant cosmic clock ticking away. And the wildest part, the theory is that ancient civilizations knew all about it. They didn't just know, they built incredible monuments and wrote these cryptic texts, basically screaming a warning at us across the ages.
And that's what's so incredible. This isn't just one culture's legend. You look at the mystery schools in ancient Egypt, you look at the sacred calendars of the Maya, and guess what? You find the exact same story. It's this deep planetary memory of a world-ending disaster followed by a total reboot. It's like they were all reading from the same terrifying lost instruction manual for planet Earth.
So, what's making this giant cosmic clock tick? Well, the sources, they point to a very real scientific phenomenon, the precession of the equinoxes. Now basically, it's this super slow, 26,000-year wobble that our planet's axis makes. Think of a spinning top as it starts to slow down. But according to this theory, that wobble isn't just some neat little quirk of astronomy. No, it's the engine, the actual mechanism that drives the destruction and rebirth of our world.
Just take a second and really let that number sink in. 26,000 years. Our entire recorded history, everything from the very first writing in Sumeria to the tweet you just read, all of it is barely a quarter of one of these cycles. It just completely shatters our sense of importance, doesn't it? It forces you to rethink our place in the real deep timeline of this planet.
And this quote, wow, it really captures the whole argument. This isn't being presented as just some old story or a myth. No, the sources frame this cycle as a predictable, mathematical event. Something that's literally hardwired into the physics of our solar system. It's like we have a recurring appointment with destiny, and it's an appointment we absolutely cannot miss.
Okay, but if this cycle is real, then there have to be traces of these previous worlds, right? Where's the evidence? This is where our investigation really gets interesting, because we have to start looking into the shadows, into the huge blank spaces that these sources call our missing history.
Just look at this timeline. It's absolutely staggering. The theory alleges there was this Anunnaki empire that lasted for almost 250,000 years. Then, around 12,000 years ago, bam! A catastrophic reset, an event that we seem to remember in all our myths as the Great Flood. And get this, our own official recorded history only kicks in 6,000 years after that flood. It just makes you wonder, what on earth happened in that gap? And what kind of world existed before it all came crashing down?
So where are the clues? Well, the sources say they're scattered everywhere, hidden in our oldest legends and in texts that were conveniently left out of the history books. They mention a Denisovans super-civilization that had some kind of lost technology. They point to all the myths of gods coming down from the sky to restart humanity after the disaster. And you've got these incredible apocryphal texts, like the Book of Enoch, that talk about watchers, these beings who knew the cycle was coming and were desperately trying to preserve their knowledge. And maybe, just maybe, their bloodlines right through the cataclysm itself.
Now this is all fascinating stuff, right? But it all leads to one massive question. If there was a super advanced civilization on Earth just 12,000 years ago, where are the ruins? Where is the smoking gun? Well, our investigation is about to take us to maybe the most mysterious and definitely the most important continent on the entire planet.
This is it. This is the question that can make or break the whole theory. Where could you possibly hide the proof of an entire lost world? According to these sources, the answer has been right in front of us the whole time. Just locked away, frozen under miles of solid ice. Antarctica. Yeah, the theory says we shouldn't think of it as just a frozen wasteland. We should see it as a time capsule, a vault, a deep freeze that's holding the true, unedited history of our planet. A place so unbelievably important, they claim, that it's been made totally off-limits to any real, independent explorers.
And the evidence they point to is, well, it's pretty wild. You have these ancient maps, like the famous Piri-Reis map, that appear to show the coast of Antarctica, but without any ice on it. How is that possible? Then you have these persistent legends of a massive ice wall that shields something else. And on top of that, you have modern whistleblower accounts. People who claim that not just the remnants, but maybe even the descendants of ancient civilizations are perfectly preserved deep, deep under the ice, just waiting.
In that brings our investigation right into our backyard, right into the present day. Because if this theory is true, this ancient cycle isn't just history. The signs that the next big shift is coming, they claim, are happening all around us right now, and you can actually measure them.
So look at this. This is the connection they make. The theory draws a straight line from these ancient prophecies to what's happening geologically today. The old texts all talk about a time of chaos and change right before the gods come back. And what do we see today? Well, our planet's magnetic field is weakening, and fast. The sun is acting more erratically than ever. We're even seeing reports that the Earth's core is changing its rotation. The theory says these aren't just a bunch of random coincidences. They're the final ticks of that 26,000-year clock.
Okay, so if these signs are real, it forces you to ask a really uncomfortable question. Why have so many world leaders, billionaires, and powerful people suddenly become so intensely interested in Antarctica? And for that matter, why is there so much secrecy around that huge, unexplored tunnel system that we know exists under the pyramids at Giza? And the answer, at least according to these sources, is chillingly simple. They know. The theory is that a global elite, working through secret societies, have held on to the real knowledge of this cycle all along. And they aren't trying to stop it. They're just following an ancient survival blueprint, preparing their own escape hatches in these very specific, strategic locations.
Which brings us to the final and most unsettling part of this whole investigation. We followed this thread from a cosmic clock in the distant past, all the way to measurable geological changes happening today. And the story it tells is that we aren't headed for some new kind of great reset, but the epic return of a very, very old one. The sources pretty much end with this stark warning. The cycle is closing. The gods, and whoever or whatever they might be, are on their way back. Are they the survivors from the last go-round? The original architects of our world? The theory doesn't say. It just leaves you with that thought.
And so, at the end of the day, we're left with this one giant question. Is our modern world really the peak of human achievement? Are we forging our own unique path? Or are we just actors in the final scene of the latest chapter in a cosmic drama that has played out, been forgotten, and then retold for eons? According to these sources, the answer isn't up to us. It's already been written in the stars.